out right here at 9 o'clock.
He's always ready for these moments, and that's why he's the greatest quarterback.
In Tom we trust, TB12 leading an epic overtime drive to send the Patriots to an NFL best 11th Super Bowl.
And Julian Edelman looking like a goat of a different kind, but able to shake it off when it counted. We've got team coverage of the back and forth battle.
Bitter blast. Temperatures taking a dangerous drop, creating some serious ice issues across the state.
And deal denied. Democrats rejecting President Trump's proposal to end the shutdown. Why they're calling the offer unacceptable.
This is 7 News Today in New England.
Good morning. Let's get a live look outside. While we were all sleeping, a deep freeze really just rolled into New England. We're taking a live look on the roads in Walpole. Good news is a lot of that ice and snow has been cleared, at least in that part. But that black ice, it can really sneak up on you.
It sure can. At least we're seeing some sunshine, though. That's a good thing. And, you know, the Patriots won yesterday. That's got everyone excited. Hopefully keeping up the warmth as well, Chris.
Hey, if our face is going to freeze, it might as well freeze with a smile on our face outside this morning. Bitter blast in place. Tough to get going. A little tired this morning, too, after watching last night's game. Maybe many of you have the holiday off here, as we do have temperatures running a couple degrees either side of 0. 5 in Boston right now, -5 out there in Worcester. Your wind chills are down well below 0. In fact, it feels like -16 in Boston, feels like -30 right now in Worcester. That's dangerous territory. You're talking about, 15 to 30 minutes outside, the possibility of frostbite to exposed skin. So if you do have to do some work outside, cover up, layer up. Wind gusts today on the order of 25 to 30 miles an hour. That's not going to change much through the afternoon. So not only do we have the cold air in place, but we've got quite a bit of wind too. So if you're heading out skiing with the kids, trying to hit the local slopes, temperatures only in the single digits, wind chills -10 to -15. Tomorrow, we'll start to see some improvements by the afternoon. More on that forecast ahead.
All right, the Patriots set for another Super Bowl showdown.
To Burkhead. Burkhead to the end zone. Hello, Super Bowl. New England is heading back again for the 3rd straight year.
Pure excitement. The Patriots prevailing in an overtime epic in Kansas City. Rex Burkhead punching it into the end zone and helping punch the team's ticket to Atlanta, too.
And Brady, he's becoming TB terrific once again, converting 3 huge third downs on the game-winning drive to send the Pats to Super Bowl 53, making sure the Chiefs never even touched the ball in overtime after their furious 4th quarter comeback.
And the GOAT throwing for almost 350 yards in yet another all-time performance. We have team coverage of the Classic in Kansas City, starting with 7's Trey Dare with more on Brady's big night.
The Patriots overcoming a lot of adversity to reach a 4th Super Bowl in the last 5 years. They heard it all year long. Too old, too slow, just not good enough. Maybe most importantly, can't win on the road. 3-5 this season away from home. They go into Arrowhead Stadium, maybe the toughest place to play in the NFL, defying the odds, and are off to Super Bowl 53.
The odds were stacked against us, and it hasn't been that way for us for a while, and it certainly was this year.
Overlooked but never counted out. And for Tom Brady, an unprecedented 9th trip to the Super Bowl is not about one win, but the journey to get there.
These are memories, that'll last a lifetime. And I said a few weeks ago, I'm blessed to find something that I love to do, that I love to work at. And that's probably been the biggest blessing in my life.
Playing in hostile territory against the NFL's newly anointed superstar quarterback, Brady and the Pats never back down.
When you got 70,000 people cheering against you, it's pretty sweet when you went on the road. We knew it was going to take a lot. It obviously took into overtime. It took some great plays and great conversions. And just proud of us getting the job done.
And with the game on the line at both the end of regulation and in overtime, the guys on Brady's side never had a doubt.
It's 32 starting quarterbacks, and I feel like we got the best, the most clutch, the guy who, when the game's on the line, he's always going to come through.
There's no one I would rather have in a 2-minute drive than number 12.
You're always comfortable with Tom going down in the drives. He's always prepared. He's always ready for these moments, and that's why he's the greatest quarterback, just hands down.
Tom Brady, just career-defining performance after career-defining performance. And maybe the coolest thing about him, there's that saying, act like you've been there before. Well, Brady never acts like he's been there before. Every time he wins, even going to a 9th Super Bowl, it's as if he's going for the very first time. We're outside Kansas City this morning. Trey Dare, 7 News Today, New England.
It was also a night of redemption of sorts for Julian Edelman, overcoming a pair of un-Edelman-like mistakes to come up clutch. Edelman finishing with a team-high 7 catches, but none bigger than on the game-winning drive in overtime. Our team coverage continues with John Coco live at Gillette Stadium. John.
Hey, Carrie, it was a roller coaster game for Julian Edelman, especially down the stretch, but it was in overtime where he really went to work.
See the 3 and out. Big hop here. Close touch by Edelman.
After almost losing the game for the Pats,
Pass down the middle. Caught. Edelman holds on.
Julian Edelman helping New England to another AFC Championship win and another trip to the Super Bowl.
This is pretty awesome. It's been a crazy year.
And last night's game was just another part of that craziness for number 11. There was the fourth quarter muffed punt that wasn't.
I didn't think I was that close. Thank God it took a short hop on me, and I don't play baseball, so didn't touch it.
Then,
and the pass is intercepted.
A ball right off his fingertips and into the Chiefs' hands. But Edelman would get his shot at redemption, coming up with 2 of the game's most important plays in overtime, pushing the Pats on their winning drive in a 37-31 victory at Arrowhead Stadium.
Down the middle. Edelman again with a 3rd down catch.
And it's part of the game. I always preach, you got to have a short memory, whether it's good or bad.
Now, Edelman has his sights set on the Super Bowl.
I look forward to going and competing with the fellas in the last game of the year in Atlanta.
Yeah, so Edelman putting those bad plays behind him because now it's on to the Super Bowl in Atlanta. That's the latest live here at Gillette. John Coco, 7 News, Today New England.
So the Patriots headed for Super Bowl showdown with the Rams. Earlier this morning, they returned to New England, their plane touching down in Rhode Island. Then a little later, the team's buses pulled into Gillette Stadium, the team carrying their newest piece of hardware, bringing home the Lamar Hunt Trophy for the 3rd year in a row and the 11th AFC Championship in the team's history. President Trump sending well wishes to the Patriots, tweeting, quote, "Congratulations to Bob Kraft, Bill Belichick, Tom Brady, and the entire New England Patriots team on a great game and season. Will be a fantastic Super Bowl."
All right, today also marks a significant moment in Patriots history. This is the 25th anniversary of Robert Kraft owning the team, and he's leaving behind a legacy that will likely never be seen again. 7's Kim Lucy is live with more on that story. Kim.
That's right. We talk so much about Brady and Belichick, but you can't forget a key component of the dynasty here, the team's owner.
I present the Lamar Hunt Trophy for the AFC champions, New England Patriots. My man.
New England Patriots owner Robert Kraft handed another Lamar Hunt Trophy and another trip to the Super Bowl as he celebrates 25 years as a team's owner today.
I want to congratulate all the players who are outstanding and our coaching staff and also the fans who have been so supportive of us.
He's now won 10 conference championships, the most of any NFL owner since 1966. Kraft sealing his 32nd postseason victory, the 3rd most of any team, behind the owners of Pittsburgh and Green Bay. This year's trip to the Super Bowl will be the 11th in franchise history for the Patriots, 10 of them since Kraft took over the organization in 1994.
This is really an asset of the community, that we're going to give it our best energy and effort to try to make the decisions that allow us to bring a championship here.
And with 5 Super Bowl rings already, a 6th now on the line, Kraft will once again rely on the dynamic duo of Bill Belichick and Tom Brady, the winningest coach and QB team in the postseason.
And we'll start getting ready for the Rams. We're going to need one more great game.
When the Patriots and the Rams meet in Atlanta for Super Bowl 53, it'll be 17 years to the day since Super Bowl 36, when the Pats and the then St. Louis Rams met in New Orleans, the first Super Bowl win for the Belichick-Brady dynasty.
Do you remember that one? The year was 2002. It's hard to remember the very first one out of all of these, right? Well, I'm sure you remember who the MVP was. I'm much younger, Tom Brady. We're live outside Gillette Stadium. Kim Lucy, 7 News, Today New England.
So now it's on to Atlanta and Mercedes-Benz Stadium, the site of Super Bowl 53. In less than 2 weeks, the Patriots and Rams will battle it out for the Lombardi Trophy. Kickoff is slated for 6:30 on February 3rd. And 7 News is headed to Atlanta as well. A lot of us here. 7's Adam Williams, sports director Joe Emersino will be in Atlanta, along with Trey Dare, Chelsea McDonald, and Tim Caputo. We'll have every angle covered right here on 7 News.
Now to our bitter blast. This is a live look outside on your Monday morning. Temperatures taking a dangerous drop into the single digits, and the freeze out is expected to continue throughout the day. And that's leading to a lot of ice-related issues across the area, especially on the roadways. 7's Matt Rascone, he is live in our traffic tracker this morning with a closer look at those conditions. Matt.
Hey, Carrie, yeah, we're on Shepherd Street in Plainville, and even with the sun out, car thermometer says 1 degree outside. It is cold, and yesterday, though, it was all about getting rid of that snow before the freeze.
Chipping away in Scituate as temperatures drop and snow turns to ice.
Totally tough. The conditions have completely gotten worse, so we're just trying to get home.
Authorities say the main concern of this storm is the sudden freeze that could lead to power outages.
The key is of who's going to get all that icing on the trees, creating power outages, and this is going to be about a 2-day impact because I believe this wind is going to stay cold and windy for the next 48 hours.
For now, people who live here are digging out.
I just sanded our entire driveway.
Dealing with minor coastal flooding in low-lying areas. On Sunday, waves crashed over the seawall. Still, people in the area say this is nothing compared to other storms.
Usually they block off the street when it really gets bad. They didn't have to do that this time. As you can see, we didn't get much snow to speak of, just clearing it before it starts to freeze up. No, it's been uneventful so far. We just hope that we don't lose our power.
And MassDOT had about 2,500 crews out on the roads yesterday, clearing out the snow and ice. Today, there is a flash freeze warning out on the freeways. Reporting live in the traffic tracker, Matt Rascone, 7 News, Today New England.
And stay with the news station anytime winter weather strikes. You can count on complete storm coverage from the 7 weather team all winter long.
And we are following more news today. A drive-in saga is taking a tragic turn. A man was killed after he crashed through a garage and went down an embankment. Officials say the car smashed through the back of the garage on Hammersmith Drive Sunday afternoon. They say the car drove over a 20-foot cliff. You see it there. It's flipped over. Neighbors described what they saw.
The firefighters were struggling to get through the snow, through the rocks, and up an inclined hill. And they were unbelievable. The Saugus firefighters were unbelievable.
The victim's name has not been released, but his family says he was a hard worker and a great father. The family tells us they believe he had a medical emergency and the crash was not weather-related, but the exact cause is still under investigation.
New this morning, investigators in Marlboro trying to figure out what sparked a church fire that broke out earlier today. It happened at Immaculate Conception on Prospect Street. There are no reports of any injuries.
Happening today, local lawmakers are honoring Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. This morning, Governor Baker, Senator Warren, and others will take part in the Carry On King's Work program at the Boston Convention Center. It's focused on diversity and inclusion in the spirit of Dr. King, who is known for his leadership during the civil rights movement, of course.
There is much more ahead on the news station. It's been a tough year for Gronk, but he came up big when it mattered the most in Kansas City.
And after the break, Democrats saying no deal to the president's latest offer to end the shutdown.
Bitterly cold air in place right now. Wind chills running 20 to 30 degrees below zero in some towns. Take a look at when the cold air relaxes and when it rains ahead.
And I'm keeping a close eye out on the roadways this morning. Zachem Lever connector looking empty, maybe a little icy out there. Details in a bit.
If you were awake overnight, you may have noticed a big red moon in the sky. That's the blood wolf moon, and it has been seen all around the world. And here's how it works. As the full moon comes into the Earth's shadow, it darkens, and the sunlight that passes through the atmosphere of the Earth makes the moon appear red. I'm sure a lot of people were sleeping from all that celebrating
the Pats win.
Well, between the celebrating and all that snow, too, blocking the visibility in the sky, Chris.
Yeah, the timing of it worked out, though. Was, after the Pats game, we won. We could go outside, take a look at that lunar eclipse, and with the sunlight refracting around the Earth through the atmosphere and hitting the moon gave that blood appearance. And then you spent like 10 seconds outside because it was so cold. You ran right back inside, right? And we want to stay inside at the moment. 5 degrees in Boston, west wind at 21 miles an hour. We are talking about wind chills just about as brutal as they get here in southern New England, especially through the Worcester Hills. Your air temperature in Worcester, by the way, -5 right now. You combine that with the wind at 23 miles an hour, and you're driving the wind chill down to -30. When you start talking about wind chills near -30 or even colder, you're talking about exposed to skin, frostbite potential there, within 15 or 30 minutes. So if you are spending any duration outside, you either got to do some cleanup work with all the snow and ice out there, or you just have to work outside. Keep that in mind. Cover up today as much as you can. And you know what? You can say the same for eastern Massachusetts. There's no bargain in Boston right now with a wind chill of -16. It stings. So far in Boston, today's low, 5 degrees. Coldest since we were -2 back in January 7th of last year. Record low for Boston is 0. Don't think we're going to hit that, but we did hit the record low of -6 in Worcester earlier this morning. Quiet conditions prevailing. We've had some patches of clouds, few flurries into the mix. That's been about it. But you know what? There's no reprieve from the cold air as far as the eye can see back through the Great Lakes or down into the Ohio Valley. So it's going to take some time to moderate. It's not going to be today. Today's going to be a cold day. Temperatures this afternoon about 8 to 10 degrees in Boston, barely above 0 out in the city of Worcester, and then likely fading back close to 0 overnight tonight, and then bouncing up into the 20s tomorrow. So you start to see some moderation by tomorrow afternoon. The wind not quite as strong either, so the bitter winds that will continue to provide wind chills of -10 to -20 this afternoon will actually relax a little bit by tomorrow afternoon. Still a bit of a breeze out there. It's going to be a frigid start to Tuesday morning with wind chills still below 0, but they'll recover into the teens for the afternoon. Then, believe it or not, despite all the cold air in place, we're talking about a rainstorm Wednesday night into Thursday as the cold air retreats. Winds become out of the south, and you're taking a storm track to the west of us, which induces that southerly flow. Temperatures by Thursday, mid-40s to near 50 degrees with that soaking rain. Guess.
All right, time now for Fast Track Traffic with Elena Pinto. How's it going out there, Elena?
Caitlin, good morning. Good morning, everybody. We'll start with a live look at the expressway. You can see that it is fairly empty out there. It is a holiday, so not a lot of company out on the roadways. One problem at the moment, just a ramp crash in Burlington from 128 southbound to Route 3 northbound. It was very icy earlier on 495. That seems to have gotten a lot better. Big picture, we're looking good. A quick drive time, just about 10 minutes across the board, but you'll want to give yourself some more time, especially if you need to clear off the car. And if you're taking the trains, that's really where we run into problems. Middleborough line 45 minutes late, Kingston line 20 minutes late, Fitchburg line 40 minutes late. But if you're taking the T, that's on time.
All right, now back to the government shutdown. The Senate planning to vote this week on a new deal to get the government reopened after Democrats rejected a plan proposed by President Trump over the weekend.
The president also sending a message to the federal workers who are going without paychecks as the shutdown heads into day 31. President Trump tweeting a statement Sunday night to the hundreds of thousands of federal workers who aren't getting paid during the shutdown, calling them, quote, great patriots. This coming one day after he laid out a proposal aimed at ending the standoff.
This is a common sense compromise both parties should embrace.
He's offering 3 years of extended protection for some dreamers and for immigrants covered by temporary protected status to stay in the United States. In exchange, the president wants $5.7 billion for a border barrier.
Walls work, and we need walls.
But Democratic officials aren't interested in President Trump's offer, saying it's a temporary reprieve for programs he's scuttled. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi called the president's speech unacceptable and a non-starter.
Mr. President, open up the government, and then Democrats and Republicans can have a civil discussion and come up with bipartisan solutions.
If the shutdown isn't resolved soon, federal courts will run out of money this week and food stamps in February. School lunches could take a hit in March.
We have to reach the point where government shutdowns are absolutely unacceptable, where we say to the president and the president says to Congress, this is not a tool that you can use to put political pressure on anybody.
House Democrats will vote on a plan that will add $1 billion for border security, but it does not include funding for the wall.
Happening today, Senator Elizabeth Warren will join more than 100 Logan Airport workers and rally in support of fair working conditions and the end of the government shutdown. They'll gather at Terminal E this afternoon. TSA agents and federal air traffic controllers have been working without pay for 31 days. And Democratic Senator Kamala Harris of California says she will run for president in 2020. She's a first-term senator and former California Attorney General. Harris joins the growing field of candidates seeking the Democratic nomination. She is the third woman to officially announce her candidacy.
Coming up on 7 News at 9 o'clock, some local celebrities and sports heroes are sharing their thoughts on the Patriots and getting pumped up for the Super Bowl showdown.
And later, we'll take a closer look at the total team effort it took to get the win in Kansas City. Stay with us.